Now, I'm not saying this thing is a bad car or anything. You got some shotguns, you got some parts in here, could look pretty fancy, but if I paid $10 for this, I would Roblox myself. Either way, welcome back, everybody. I know you are all feeling absolutely lovely, lovely, exotic, absolutely enthralled that today the Red Panda has graced your computer screen, although statistically, it's actually more likely that most of you are actually on your cell phones or your tablets. Why do you choose to watch YouTube on the, like, 10-inch screen, 5-inch screen in front of you? I don't know. That would absolutely hurt my eyes, but for whatever reason, you guys still continue to do that. It's probably because it's on your parents' phone. Why am I still on this tangent? Either way, welcome back, everybody. Today, we're taking a look at this nice, lovely, lovely 2-pack systems here. We got the brand new $10 biter pack here, as well as this brand new Polar Express that comes in 3 varieties, the Deluxe, the Regular, and the Light Edition here. So I actually want to go over these and see how these things pad out. There's also a bunch of discounts too, but we'll talk about that at the very end. So first things first, let's actually talk about the thing that's the most closest and actually here for the shortest amount of time, the Polar Explorer, although we probably should take a look at the quote-unquote base version of this to get a sense of what we got here. So first things, we got the unique Ahmad Khan, the Ice Pick, the Epic Pulse Cannon, the, I have no idea how to pronounce that, Astrius, or whatever you call it. We got the Epic Cabin, the Ermac. What is with these names? I cannot pronounce half these things. Maybe it's just me and I'm absolutely god-awful at pronouncing names. Like, anyone who's been on my streams and trying to watch people come in, it's like, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but we'll go with Potato. Let's go. Next, we have the defense module, the Averta, which is the thing that makes your parts a little bit harder to take off. Beyond that, we also got the character portrait Dallas Rhyme, a unique paint can, which I believe is this blue one here at the far north. We also have the 1,500 in-game coins, and the maximum number of parts is 50. Although, to be fair, at level 30, you're 80, so it just depends on what level you actually do to get this nice, unique perk. But the main benefit here, of course, is this beautiful cabin and this beautiful gun here. So let's quickly take a look at these perks here. So first things first, we have the nice cabin here, the Ermac. The most reliable cabin for the workforce, blah, 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 it doesn't really matter. Essentially what it is, it's a nice heavy cabin here, 11 points of energy, a max speed of 65 kilometers per hour, a tonnage of 9,000, a mass limit of 18,000 kilograms, which is not that bad, along with a durability of 550 and a mass of 3,200. So a fairly heavy car with the potential to haul a lot of junk. Now, just in relation to other cabins here, let's take a look at something like the, I want to say the Humpback, or probably a fairly close alternative to this. So we have a tonnage of 9,000, mass limit of 18. A Humpback has a tonnage of 8, so it's 1,000 less, but it has 2,000 more mass limit, but it also weighs 800 more points, so it effectively has a 1,200 extra mass limit to go with it, because it's also kind of balanced out by the fact that it has all these weird perks. Although, oddly enough, this thing has less durability than the Ermac, so oddly enough, the Ermac car may be slightly more resilient than the Humpback, especially considering that I believe the Ermac is considerably smaller than the other one, but might just be me. But for the perk upon this, we get, upon receiving damage, increases the armor vehicle's damage resistance by 10% for 7 seconds and stacks up to 3 times, so I'm assuming that's a 30% damage resistance. And the delay about this effect is 0.4 seconds, which I'm not quite sure what that means, but alright, interesting enough. So essentially that means the more you get attacked while in that car, the more damage absorption that you can do. So, not too bad. And the fact that it's a passive boost too means you don't really have to think about it that much, you can still just focus on firing. Next, we have this nice, lovely, I guess pseudo-scorpion with the pulse accelerator, a type of railgun, if you will. So this is a interesting railgun. We have a damage of however much that is, a fire rate of however much that is, a range of however much that is, and an accuracy of however much that is. The fact they don't give you, like, explicit numbers is extremely annoying. Because for me, it's incredibly hard to be like, yeah, it does a decent amount of damage, other than just, let's just go out into the test field and take a look at it, because at that point, that's the only numbers that you can utilize. So let's go ahead and see how much damage this thing actually does. But before we do that, let's take a look at its perk. So charging this weapon increases damage by 0.5 seconds. An overcharged shot deals 50% more damage from the maximum charge, while also distributing 50 points of damage to the parts on which the weapon is mounted on. So probably why you want to have something like the Averta here to kind of distribute and take off that load a little bit. But the fact that it has 50 points of damage is kind of interesting. So that means if you actually wanted to utilize like the most damage on this, you'd have to risk damaging yourself and potentially distripping yourself. So interesting enough. So let's see, how much as it does at base. So it does look like around 43 at base, 103 at the cabin, so not too bad. 123 at the base. The issue is like you want to do it just one tiny click. And this seems to be pretty consistent, but roughly around that 110 range. Because the thing is that regardless of however much you click, there's still going to be a tad bit of a charge associated with it, I assume. There's no way to do just like a perfect 1 millisecond click that doesn't trigger the perk whatsoever. But interesting. Now let's see how far can it shoot away here. So we have a target all the way there at 300 meters. I'm curious if this bad boy will be able to shoot all the way at that distance. Yep, and it does seem to actually shoot all the way at that distance. Well, I'm curious. Yep, it doesn't seem to have any sort of bullet drop. The projectile speed on this is incredibly fast, although the DPS on this is incredibly minimal. You might be able to do something with this if you had like 4 or 5 stacked together. The fact you only do like 100-ish per shot with 0 penetration is a bit concerning. But it looks like it has an incredibly long range. In fact, it can probably... It's safe to say that this thing probably has the same range as something like an autocannon, but way faster. But let's go ahead and take a look at the damage of something like this when it is fully charged. So to fully charge something like this, we just hold down the trigger, and there we go. Thanks to the averter, we've managed to distribute most of that damage. Yeah. But not that bad. So you see, with each one of these shots, it looks like we're doing in the realm of 200-ish now. Yeah, 280. It was a 50% damage increase, and our like initial base damage is roughly around the 100 mark. So I'm kind of curious how a 50% damage boost translates to 300 damage on cabin. Interesting. Because at that point, I mean, it's almost a 300% damage increase. It's like a 300 to like 250% increase. But maybe the way they do multiplication in this game is kind of weird. Because 100% damage increase is actually like 150%. Or I should say that in like pure math, 100% of something is just 100%. Now if it's doing on top of it, then it's actually like a 200% multiplication increase. Because times anything by 100%, you just get whatever it was. If you times anything by 200%, you get 2 times it. It's just like that. So I'm guessing this is meant to be 50% increase, but still really high on. And it looks like that the damage of this weapon actually activates the perk on the cabin itself. So not only do you have the averter distributing damage, then you have the cabin itself distributing the damage as well. Interesting idea. I mean, this weapon here is probably supposed to be mounted under cabin, which is probably why they have it designed like this. And you have it on the inverter too, so it distributes the damage as much as humanly possible. Another good cabin for this would probably be something like the cohort, in which you can actually distribute the damage of it. But interesting card per se, although the issue with the weapon and the fact that it has 6 points of energy requirement per, even if you had 2 of these bad boys, I wouldn't say it really does anything exceptionally great. It does have pretty great poking potential, especially with something like a hover. But at that same time too, you're also competing with something like autocannons at that range and cannons. And these bad boys all seem to have way higher damage. The main downside is that a lot of these tend to have much larger lead times and slower travel speed, so it's much harder to hit them. So you have probably a higher miss rate with weapons like these. So I actually wonder what the effective DPS is between something like this or an autocannon build. Because you have to remember, like some of these weapons like Cyclones or Jewels or Whirlwinds, like these bad boys can pump out hundreds of damage per hit. And especially on smaller maps where you won't have super long distances, these have the potential to do still a significant amount of damage. And they have a huge benefit from this DPS at a super long range. And they don't damage your car too. So it's a weird system where it's like, it's a weapon that has a great potential for sniping at super long distances and great taking off weapons. But at the same time, it's also so functionally low damage that I'm kind of curious if it'll ever even remotely be meta. Not to mention that it's supposed to be the downgraded version of the Scorpion, And the one thing that makes the Scorpion really good is the fact that it penetrates a shiitake ton of parts, and in that way is actually able to take off weapons super easily. And in fact, it looks like it's not even incorporated into this technology tree yet, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, I'm not quite sure how I feel about this lovely boy here. Interesting weapon concept, and I do like the art for it. But I wouldn't say it's necessarily a good weapon, but hey, if you kind of like the Scorpion weapons and you want to get a taste of it, I guess you could try this out if you want, instead of paying like the $500-ish for a weapon like this. But let me know what you guys think about that. They also have a $15 version of this, which seems a bit more reasonable for its price, because you still get the two main components, the weapons, the inverter, and a cabin, but you don't have to pay extra for a little bit of extra coins and a few tracks that, honestly, right now, have taken quite the hit in terms of pricing, which is exceptionally cheap right now. Downside about this is that currently at the time of recording, there's only about 20 days left of this promotion, so a decent chance you'll probably miss it. The only thing that's going to be permanently around is the $30 pack of this, and I wouldn't really say this thing is worth it unless it's on sale, but to be fair, that's kind of the same thing with any of these weapons. Not to mention that I doubt this weapon here is going to be terribly pricey for a very long time. That's hilarious. Went from 3,000 right down to 1,200, less than 1,000 in some instances, wasn't it? It was getting close to less than 1,000. Yeah, 1,050. Yeah, not a lot of people are itching for this weapon. That's funny. That's funny. Actually, wait, what was the amount of trades going on for that? Ooh, 47 sell orders and 47 buy orders. Ooh, so supply is almost outstripping demand at this point. Interesting. But alright, that's that pack. Next, we have the $10 biter pack here, which is a sort of like, I guess, introduction cabin that you can buy now. But let's see what's actually included in this lovely pack. So we get the unique armor car, the biter, the shotgun, sledgehammer, 3 pieces. So that'd be these blue tier ones. We also get the cabin growl, which is the light cabin with 11 energy. Not a bad cabin for just starting out. You get unique character portrait mocker. I don't know why I was having a hard time saying that. You got a little lore bit there if you want to read that. Next, we also got the razor teeth sticker pack, which I believe is these bad boys. And then beyond that, we have 650 in-game coins, which I don't think is actually that much in terms of cost. What is actually the cost of those coins? Well, 10,000 coins for 2,000 cross crowns, and 2,000 cross crowns is a lot of money. Okay. Well, I had to do 2-step conversions to even get that. How obnoxious. Thank you, Crossout, for making something incredibly convoluted. I had to do a 2-step conversion to even get the actual accurate pricing. Wow. Thank you. Well, that's obnoxious, but we'll just say, we'll give it the valuation of like $6 of coins or something like that, just to make it seem more fair. But let's see, what else do we have here? And the maximum number of parts increased to 57, which I actually think is 7 more than this. Yeah, this is 50, and this is 57, so a slight bit more points here. Probably because this vehicle is actually just like in a dense array of cosmetic parts here. Makes it look incredibly fabulous, but dang son. 57 extra. So it's almost worth it for new players to get this over the other pack, just because you would have more parts in the end, but the $10 sticker price, not that much, because you have to remember, these parts are incredibly cheap. Growlers, or sorry, not the Growlers, the Sledgehammers are only 46-ish on this market, 43 if you do buy orders. Growl's only 52, the, what is this, the Tamir is 46, this is 48 for the Chill, right? Yeah, and you get a couple of chained wheels, which are worth only 24 a piece and 25 a piece. And a couple of cosmetics that probably add up to maybe 60 coins in total. No, we'll throw in 100 coins just for the cosmetics alone. Oh yeah, and these little like edgy sticker things that you would get for... Aren't those like actually crafted at the... this faction here? Because I'm pretty sure they have them... Yeah, here it is, right here. Yeah, I was wondering where I saw that. I was like, I swear we've seen these before. It's like, oh yeah, these things. Yeah, no one makes these because they're really expensive. Legitimately, no one makes them. Because it is almost pretty much the same as throwing away money. But interesting enough. Plus you get all these nice armored parts here. In fact, you even get a couple from the Founders faction here. The Digger Hole. Interesting. Does this thing even come with a paint? I don't think it actually does come with a paint. Oh, no, here it is. It does come with a paint. The Vandal effect here, which is selling for 120. Not too shabby. Although, look at that. No one is purchasing this paint whatsoever. Let's go ahead and see how this bad boy handles. Because right now, we only have 2 steering wheels, and the rest are just the regular old power wheels. So you should be able to maintain a decent speed. And it does seem to handle fairly well. The only downside about a car like this is that without any extra redundant wheels, losing any of these wheels would be a huge hindrance for you actually moving. So if you face something like a cannon build, congratulations, you're basically going to get immediately crippled. But kind of jazzy, kind of jazzy. The thing with too is that having a lot of extra blue wheels on the cars like this is that sure it can provide extra benefits in terms of power and speed. Downside is that because of this, you're also more likely to end up going into a battle where you'd be outclassed. Because someone will probably use something like a... Oh! Yeah, makes sense. Go ahead. Lovely, lovely weapons. But the only downside is that using blue wheels like this instead of the regular white wheels, you're going to be put at a higher power score, so you may end up getting crushed a lot more frequently. Especially with a car like this, it's only 3 shotguns and 600 HP. You do not have a lot of HP here to mess around with. But it's pretty decent. Although, what is the power score of a car like this? 3,000, so you're not going to be facing terribly high power score vehicles here. In fact, honestly, a car like this reminds me a lot of the buggy car that you get when you were doing the beta for this. So I'm actually curious. Where is this at? That's a Sprint. Is it this one? No. There was another one here that we got ages ago. Yeah, there's the Viper, which looks similar to it in some regards, except a lot more narrow. But there used to be a pack car that you get for initially getting into this game that was very similar to this. Although I have no idea where it went. Ah, here it is. Yeah, the Snappy. Very similar looking-esque car, except this one was all white parts here instead of blue parts. But very similar design in that way. Although it's also 2,000 less power score. So, interesting car, I would say. It looks nice, but nothing that you really have to have. That and anything that you can get from this car, you can generally get just by purchasing it off the marketplace for a lot more value. I mean, something like this, you have to remember, right now, this little pack right here is also competing for something like the Polar Explorer pack, which gives you considerably more for bang for your buck. Not to mention that all the parts you get here are probably worth way more than this actual $10 pack here. Or even for these packs that are on sale right now, you can get this bad boy and get the tank tracks for $5 more. And this is actually like some pretty heavy duty stuff here that can actually do fairly well. So, interesting it is, but it's kind of the thing with cheap packs is that they seem really cheap and they're like a good offer, but in reality, going a little bit more or waiting for a sale for parts is going to do you way better. This kind of reminds me of like these free Steam packs they used to have, because they used to have a like $5 Steam pack exclusive that you could get for a hot second, but that basically no one ever purchased. Kind of like that. But I think it's going to be all my thoughts today on regards to these parts. What do you guys think about these brand new 2-packs? Do you guys like them? Yay or nay? Leave your thoughts down below. Other than that, guys, I love you all, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.